Hi, I'm Macklen Mayse. This is a mini class for flexibility and some mobility for the hip region. I will show you and teach you how to do a hip car, a controlled articular rotation. And we'll do this particular one leaning partially against the wall. And then I will teach you some movements and flexibility stretching positions for the 90-90 position. It's a seated position, which I've taught a little bit before in one of my other videos. And a couple of you had questions about positioning for that. So this is assistance for the 90-90 position as well. Okay, so for the hip mobility car at the wall, find a place where you can lean against the wall. I'm going to show you two different points of view. Let's do the right hip against the wall, or it could be something else that's not mobile. Yeah, it could be like a bench or a door frame or back of a couch, what have you. You're going to lean your right hip against the wall. Place your right hand next to the wall as well. Right shoulder, you're going to touch to that right wall or to the wall. And we're using this wall as support, but also to help limit any movement of the hips or the spine from side to side. Because on this left hip, we're going to be creating a slow rotation through that entire hip joint. And we're doing it in this focused way so that we can gain some insight and some really specific mobility, which is controlled movement at that joint, which will help to increase your flexibility and your strength over time, and also your awareness. Okay, so you're going to be in this tabletop position with your right shoulder and right hip leaning against the wall. Hands relatively underneath the shoulders-ish and knees underneath the hips-ish. And then you'll go ahead, oh yeah, so sorry, take your left hand and step it out wide. So you're gonna kind of clamp that left arm straight down into the floor like you're giving somebody a stiff arm. Left hand, stiff arm it down into the floor, and that's gonna push your right shoulder further into the wall and push your right hip further into the wall as well. And then you should have some mobility through that left hip. All right, I'm gonna do it now on this wall so that you can see some of the movement of my left hip. I'm also gonna be on hands and knees here a little bit. Okay, so lean against that wall. See if you can hover the right knee off the floor and really squeeze the right heel into the glute region. So squeeze that heel close towards the back of the pelvis. Bring the left knee close towards the hip, but try not, oh, excuse me, words and body parts and directions. Bring that left knee in towards the left chest, left abdomen, but see if you can keep your spine super long. Okay, so try not to cat-cow through the spine here. Keep the left knee in towards the chest. You might feel some interesting stuff through that left front hip crease. If you feel pinching, just do a little bit less. All right, take that left leg out wide to the left. Your body weight is going to want to shift. See if you can stay strong in this position, leaning your shoulder and right hip into the wall and stiff arming with that left hand. Slowly see if you can lift that left heel up. So rotating in the hip, lift the left heel up. This is an internal rotation for that left hip. Keep squeezing that heel towards your glute. Yes, we're going slow here. Sweep the left leg back behind you. Keep that knee bent. So now you're in a little bit of like a donkey kick position. Squeeze through the back of that knee. See if that thigh can lift up just a 1/16 of an inch higher while keeping your spine super long. excuse me, and then bring that left knee back to that hover position. That was half of a rotation. Let's go the opposite direction. Kick that heel back up. Keep squeezing through the back of the knee. Good. Keep that thigh lifted without losing integrity through the spine. And then see if you can kind of wag the heel out to the left. That's an internal rotation and extension. Take the left leg out wide to the left. Ooh, your hip's going to want to separate away from the wall. Keep that hip close to the wall. And then bring that left knee close towards the elbow and then in front of the left chest. Slowly release that knee down. Sit back, relax the wrists. That was one really slow, controlled hip rotation. If that was too intense on the wrists, you could try it on the forearms. You don't have to do it next to the wall. It's just for some added feedback and added challenge. Yeah, the more that we can limit other parts of the body, then the more that we'll be able to focus on that left hip. And I like doing that because it really increases awareness, and it asks a lot more of the hip to do what it really does on its own. But additionally, there's also other stuff going on in the body, like you might feel some work happening through the trunk. That's cool. All right, let's do that one more time a little bit faster now. So find your position, stiff arm, hover left knee, pull it into chest, abduct the hip, which means open it out wide to the left. Keep it out there as you try and lift the heel a little bit. Sweep the leg back, extension, sensing for some hamstrings, squeeze that knee. Good, pull the knee in to hover next to right knee, and then kick the leg up and back behind, knee super bent, spine long. Let the left heel wag a little bit out to the left. That's an internal rotation, rolling the thigh in. Take the leg out wide to the left. Oof. Knee comes towards elbow and then front of chest, and then hover it down. Great, let's switch sides. You're welcome to do these as often as you'd like, with or without the wall. I really do recommend to record yourself for yourself doing these movements so that you can find out, how does your body sway? Does it not sway? Are you doing cat-cow when you're doing your hip stuff? Yeah, it's helpful to notice so that then you can have some choices after. All right, left side leaning against the wall. I'm short of breath now because this is intense. It takes a lot of focus and effort. All right, we're doing the right hip car. Left side leaning against the wall, spine super long. Hover right knee. The first round will be a little bit slower. Yeah, we'll take a break and then we'll do second round. Squeeze the knee really deep. Good, pull right knee in towards chest. Then take the right leg wide. See if you can lift that right heel up. You might have to lower the knee a little bit to let that internal rotation happen. Then sweep the leg back. Good, find that hip extension, looking for hamstring. Bring that knee back to hover. Let's go the opposite direction. Kick the leg up and back. Try not to cat-cow through the spine, keeping integrity through that spinal column. Here's where that video of yourself would be really useful. In that hip extension, pause, knee deep, bend, and then let that heel wag out to the right. So you're spinning your thigh bone in, spinning it in its socket. Good, this might feel awkward. Take the right leg out wide to the right. Then bring the knee towards the elbow. Your heel will lower naturally. And then bring the knee in front of the chest and place it down next to left knee. Pause. Breathe. Good, we'll do one more round A little bit increase in pace, and then we'll do the 90-90 for a little bit. All right, find your position, stiff arm, right arm. Lean left shoulder and hip into wall. Good, bring right knee, bend the knee deep, pull it into chest, spine long. Leg goes out wide to the right. Lower the knee a little bit so that you can access a little bit of internal rotation, lifting the heel up and sweep it back behind. Notice at any point through any of these movements, if you have a favorite, one that feels easy, one that feels challenging, so maybe your least favorite. And then bring that knee back to hover. Kick the leg up and back, knee bends. Heel sways out. Then take the thigh out. Wow. That one's challenging for me. Lower heel, bring knee towards elbow. And then knee in front of chest. Place the leg down. Take a breather. Maybe close the eyes and notice any after effects. So flexibility sometimes gets the rap of like, or the marketing of being like slow and passive. Cool thing about the body is that anytime that you do strength work, which mobility is this like cool thing. I don't know, sometimes I think about it in between flexibility and strength. It like brings things together, because when the body does strength work and it builds strength onto muscle, like builds muscle tissue, that will lend itself also to affect flexibility. So that's cool. And somehow that connects, but my brain is wanting to do 90-90 right now, so we can talk more about that later when I can have more clear thoughts. All right, so now 90-90 position. You're going to be seated. Just want to check my time really quick. Wow. Wowza. 90-90. We'll do a whole nother video on this because this is supposed to be a mini class. Heels out wide to the floor, knees bent, hands behind you. Hello, wide open. You're gonna swift your knees from left and to right. I think I'm finding that I'm long-winded. So I was aiming for a 10-minute class, but these are a little bit longer. All right, you're gonna go from side to side. Hands are supported behind you. Now, as you drift the knees over towards the left, your left leg is in external rotation, it's opening out. And your right leg, right hip is in internal rotation. That's that spinning action of that thigh spinning in. Cool. Then when you drift your legs to the right, your right leg is in external rotation. That side of your hip is opening to the side. And your left hip is rolling in. So your hip socket is your pelvis, your pelvic bone as it relates to the top of your thigh bone. That's where the rotation happens. So you can have one doing one thing internal, and you can have the other hip doing the other thing external. Cool. For today's purpose, for a bit of flexibility, we're going to find a 90-90 position that feels pretty comfortable for you. You want to make sure, because we're going to be spending time here, that you feel pretty comfy. So you're going to have one leg out in front. So if we're taking the position we were just in, the right leg is out in front of you, left hip rolling in. Breathing. Breathing is cool. This left leg I don't care so much about, this back leg. So you can do whatever you want with this knee bend. You can do whatever you want with the foot. This right leg, see what it's like to have about a 90-degree angle in the knee. If you need to have a little bit of a less angle, that's fine. You could bend the knee more. Or if you need some support underneath the knee because you're having some tension in the knee, then put a blanket under there or a block. You could roll up something and stuff it under there. But have your right hip, your right butt cheek, have your right butt cheek on the floor, if possible. Okay, now we're gonna seek. We're gonna start to explore with the hands around this front right leg. You're exploring with the hands to shift the position of your torso. And when you shift position with your torso, you might feel different sensations correlated down in that right hip. All right, you're gonna see if you can find a sensation that feels like stretch along that under right thigh. For some, it's going to be a bit of a lean forward. So it's as if you're bringing your chest, your abdomen forward over that right thigh. And then you're gonna hang out there. And you're gonna support your torso with your hands, or if you want more of a, no, we're gonna support the torso with the hands. That's what we're gonna do right now. Yeah, no intensity at the moment. We're going for the passive stretch. And you're gonna see if you can relax into it. So I'm gonna focus on exhale. Can you breathe out through the mouth, the nose? And then the breathe in, inhale happens naturally. And then exhale. Maybe it's an inhale for a count of 4. And an exhale for a count of 8. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhaling 2, 3, 4. Exhaling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Continuing to focus on exhale. We're just calming the nervous system, calming the body down here by soothing with exhale breath. Because for flexibility and stretch to be able to, for you and your body to be able to see and experience long-term effects of stretching, there needs to be some time, some consistent time built in. So stretching happens, the body receives the effects, the long-term effects of stretch. If you hold a stretch for about 90 seconds to 2 minutes is what research has shown. So you'll want to hold a position that, again, is pretty comfortable for you, but you feel some sort of sensation. If for whatever reason you don't feel sensation here, you might consider lifting this foot off the floor on a block and see what that does for you. If this is not a helpful positioning for you, you're always welcome to come over to the side of your thigh, and that can be accessible for some. So you're going to come up off of that leg and drift both knees upright. And let's actually take both legs out long for a moment just to feel right leg compared to left leg. Bend your knees again, drift both knees over to the left. Do whatever you want with this back leg. I'm going to bend my knee a little bit. And then you're going to find your search. You're going to start your search, your flexibility sensation search. You're going to cruise those hands around, moving your torso to see when you might feel some stretch sensation along that under left hip. And then you're going to hang out. You're going to hang out in a comfy position. Maybe thinking about rotating your chest over that thigh. So imagining a lift of the chest. A lift of the chest and maybe a lift of the tailbone so that you can try and point the navel, reaching it long away or long towards the knee. And that might help to increase sensation along that under left thigh and hip. Okay, focus on your exhales, breathing out. Longer exhales than inhales. Remembering to soften through the jaw. And there might be thoughts that creep in or an emotional quality that comes in, a mood. Just remember that you're welcome at any point to notice those things. And you're also welcome to set them aside briefly. Using your breath, your exhale, long exhale, as a homing device. And you'll hold this for upwards to 2 minutes. And then you'll slowly come out of it. Stretch out your legs, maybe give them a little wag. And that was for increasing your flexibility along the outer hips and also prior to the mobility for the entire hip joint. And another segment that I'll teach in a moment is strength for the hips. So we'll build strength now, pretty focused strength for that zone. Thank you for joining. See you later.